Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in the lab, in the book, doing what I do for you. I got a nice little wrap up for this aspects of the myth. That's what we're going to do today. I got a nice little lesson for you. Good information. Let's go. Rightisms, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I'll ask the question. Do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not, and knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not, and knows that they know not, simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you, I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not, and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. Yeah, that's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself, and to my be true. I'm doing the myth thing, break it down for you. I just gave you the 4 keys. Now I'm going to wrap it up with other aspects of myth. You got different people's concepts of the myth, and we're going to get into the understanding of how the Greeks misinterpreted and came up, like my brother say, what you don't understand, make it up. I don't practice that philosophy. I don't subscribe to that way of thinking. So let's go over right quick. Now, with a myth, it's important to understand the aspect of a myth is a plot. Tell a story, walk through the story with them, understand the plot of the story, see what we're trying to make them get the message through the story. Okay, we did that as kids. So we get the plot. So a plot refers to what? The plan of events or the main story in a narrative or a drama, however you want to present it to them, okay? But the synchronicity in the situations presented in myths, here's what right here, can be used as a factor in discerning the communal nature of 2 myths. They say this, they say that. In Egypt, Memphis, Thebes, and Waset, they had different myth concepts. No problem. Nobody got a problem with that. Moving on. And it's okay. And watch this. Now, this congruence must be specific. You have to realize that they say this, they say that. You don't have to, who's better, who's worse, who's right, who's wrong. It ain't about that. Okay. So now involving, you gotta be specific when you come to it, involving the characters or similar age group, their gender and their genealogy, or the province experiencing similar situations in the same or similar ways. Perfect example, Christians got Jesus. Egyptians got Haru. 2 different mythologies, but they still come out the same way. So that's what they mean. All right, here we go. But where we at? Okay, yeah. So now, when you comparing myths, again, there are several important concerns that you have to be aware of. But the purpose of the myth, first of all, in the language of the myth, and at what levels of the myth, it must be understood prior to making the comparison. If you only know one and don't know the other, there's no comparison. You got to know them all. That's the difference. If you do that, then now you can make an honest assessment or comparison. But if you just got one and you like this one and the other one don't, I don't like that because that's not cool. But if you're going to make a comparison, myth, remember, is a language. that speaks to people, by which sages and saints. I teach here, doing my thing on my platform. My best friend, he do his work in church. He's a saint, I'm the sage. We both do what we do with different myths, different strategy, different one, but we do the same thing. Trying to get you to God, understand. My thing is to get you to know yourself, all right? But we, saints, the sage and the saints, we transmit the basic elements of culture through what? A common story. I'm telling you about Harut, Asar, and Aset. He tell you about Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Okay, now, but for all within the culture to believe, remember, religion is a belief system, and as well as draw answers to what? Your basic questions of life, such as, where do I come from? Okay, to which group do I belong to? And what is the purpose of my life? I teach a philosophy that answers those questions. My pastor teach a religion that also answers those questions. Different philosophy, different concept, but the same thing. See where we're going with this? So understand that. If what you believe is working for you, continue to do just that. Simple. But, and how do I feel about that purpose? How do I get to find that purpose? That's education. That's my thing. And this is all conveyed how? Through stories, plot, and themes of what? The myth. And their what? Inherent teachings of social order, as well as their spiritual morals. Mayat teach morals and ethics. Remember, you're responsible for yourself. They taught that, everybody practiced it. So across the board, everybody was responsible for themselves. They lived in harmony, social harmony for thousands of years. With that philosophy. Okay, moving on. And it's known, documented, so no, do your homework. I keep telling you, whatever I tell you, you can Google it. But most religions, go back to Carl Jung, religion without a myth religion without myth not only fails to work, it also fails what? If it don't offer man the promise of what? Unity with the transpersonal or eternal, meaning God. If your goal ain't to God, what's the purpose? So all religions goes to get you to God. Okay, what's this now? Now, most religions and your spiritual philosophies, what? They tend they tend to be what? Theistic. Bunch of jibber jabber. Okay. When it's in the teaching form, in the preaching format, it's how they present themselves. That's what it is. Some guys are better at that than others. But that's only what? At the elementary level. Just because you know a little bit about the Bible, because you go to church, that don't mean you know yourself. That don't mean you one of God's chosen people. But when you get past the deism, okay, as a religious belief or a form of theism, again, belief in the existence of who? God, a supreme being. That holds that what? The supreme being actions. This is the philosophy of Christians. God created everything in 6 days, and the 7th day he rests. All right? They're myths. Okay. Supreme being action was what? Was restricted to the initial act of creation, 6 days, and after which he or she retired, meaning separated to what? Contemplate the majesty of his or her work. That's why I got a problem with religion, or that myth. You telling me God is not in you? God is outside looking? I don't subscribe to that myth. I don't subscribe to that theology. That's all. And that don't make it right or wrong. Just mean I don't subscribe to it. We ain't got to go back and forth. But deists, watch this. Your deist holds that what? The natural creation is regulated by the laws put in place by the supreme being. And that just gave you the law of karma. That's the law of what? You reap what you sow. You put it out, it's going to come back to you. If it's good, you earn the blessing. If not, it's called karma. But what's this? But you have to realize the nature is regulated by laws that was placed in there by the supreme being, again, at the time of what? Creation. Which are inscribed with perfect moral principles. Mayat, 42 confession. I have not done things. Okay, so therefore, deism is closely related to what they call exoteric or personal, but also outer phenomenal. They just give the surface. Again, elementary, just the basics, and that's fine. But it's become dogmatic and conventional understanding of the deity. They tell you about God, tell you about the God's Son, but now you just got what? Believe what they tell you. Go with the flow. But again, if you follow the tenets, you find out for yourself if it works or not. Some people ask for things, don't get it when they want it, so they tell you, hey, it don't work. It don't work that way. Moving on, but that's happens a lot of times. They come to religion thinking God's going to answer their prayers, God's going to deliver them. God, man, you got to do some work. Moving on. But now, it is an assumption that was adopted by many of what? Your comparative mythology scholars. This is the white boys. They want to take their concepts and impose it on others. Give everybody the same respect that you want from yours. That's why I show other people respect to believe what they want. Why? I want you to respect mine. That's all. No other reason. But your mythological scholars, and is the idea, watch this, that myth is a means of explaining rituals. Okay. But it's the ritual, it's the myth, and then the ritual follows the myth. It ain't the ritual, then the myth. Pay attention, I'm going to make that point for a reason. The myth sets the tone for the ritual. It's practiced due to what? The myth. And this idea is often predicated upon what? The concept that primitive cultures develop myth as a means of coping with the mysteries of life and creation due to the lack of scientific knowledge. These are your supposed to be modern scholars, and they're comparing what they don't know to what know a little bit about, and they're going to make an assessment, and that never works well for what they don't know about. It's going to always be downplayed and misunderstood. And the misinterpretation of the myth is the worst thing, and the Greeks was good at that. The Romans followed up behind them doing the same thing. Misinterpretation of what? A myth, story, and trying to make it literal. Moving on. But right here, it tells you when they considered what we know wasn't good because no scientific knowledge. Okay, but what's this? Now, in the absence of science, ritual and superstition were substituted. Right there. Superstition. I don't need superstition. The myth is fine. Let it be. And what's this? In order to what? To allow the fears that caused by what? The unknown. Now they're doing the scare tactic. That's when fear comes in. Oh, God gonna damn you to hell. You want all that? That's that nonsense. Simple fact. You get blessed, you get punished. Simple. Moving on. And further, this theory therefore now holds that what the myth developed as a emanation of the actions of the practitioner of the rituals to justify those rituals. That's ass backwards. While this point of view is accurate with respect to what is wholly, but in respect, this behind the ritual and their, while this point of view is accurate with respect to certain cultures whose practitioners who are what? Ignorant, again, as to the reason behind the ritual of their religion, so it is wholly incorrect. There you go. Incorrect when considering the cultures possessing mystical philosophy that they didn't understand. They make it up. Now they're going to make it up. Now, in those cultures, watch this, the sacred writings of the religions present models of rituals is expressions of the myth, and the myth is expressions of philosophy or mysticism. Ritual is therefore a means to understand the myth again. First the myth, then the ritual. And the realization of the myth is when you practice it, is a means to attain, you ready? Spiritual enlightenment. That's how it's done. The erroneous concept, there you go. They had an erroneous concept is evident when not only in modern scholarship, but also in ancient cultures, watch this, which adopted our symbols and the myths from other cultures without fully understanding their purpose, their means of the philosophy behind them. So they took it and made it what they wanted. Perfect example. You can't make statements without backing it up with facts. Moving on. The following example, that's what I'm trying to get to. Oh Lord, okay, we good. All right. The following example given by a guy named Count Goblet de Avila, he provides an insight into this process, and they call iconological mythology. Iconological mythology. Okay, what that is? That means sometimes in similar cases, the new owners, the Greeks didn't steal our information, they borrowed our knowledge. So the new owners who borrowed our knowledge of the image will endeavor to explain it, watch this, be a more or less ingenious interpretation. The original interpretation is ingenious. When the person who is trying to interpret it missed the genius of it and interpreted it wrong, watch this. The interpretation, and in this manner, they will now restore to it a symbolic import to apply to what? A new concept. They're going to change what it was to what they think it is. Watch this. And the rising sunrise, we know that, has often been compared to what? A newborn child, hence Haru on the horizon, newborn. Amongst the Egyptians, that was the philosophy. So this comparison led to Haru being what? Represented as an infant sucking on a finger, sitting on a lotus plant. That's Nefertiti, like this. It's a beautiful one. He got his finger to his mouth. They think that he's telling you to be quiet, the silence mode. So watch this. He's sucking his finger. He really like a pacifier. He's sucking because mother nipple he ain't getting, so he sucked his own finger. That was the concept that the Egyptian had. I know that, understand, I know that. Watch this. But they took it. Now, the comparison led to Haru being represented as the infant sucking his finger. The Greeks misinterpreted and imagined that he placed his finger on his lips to enjoin what? Secrecy for the initiates. Wrong. And they made him the image of this guy called Harpocrates, Harpocrates. That's on the Greek god. And he was the god of silence. They took Haru, gave him another name, gave him a whole new identity. See the difference? See where we're going with this? It's been done a lot. Watch this. I know that for a fact. And I'm glad someone else has recognized it. It ain't just me saying it. So this is perfect. Now he got him again. Watch this. Now they made him the image of Harpocrates, the god of silence. This is what my man M. Clement Ganu has very happily turned iconological mythology. It is here no longer the myth which gives rise to the image or the ritual, but now they're using the image which gives rise to the myth. I hope you understand that. Like putting the cart before the horse. Put the horse before the cart. No. Myth, ritual. Not the other way around. So, watch this. We may now further quote as a misinterpretation of the same kind that legend related to by Hydron. Now, Hydron was a Greek god, in which made the caduceus originate in Hermes. Caduceus, the staff with the two serpents going up, the medical singer right now. We in Egypt know that the staff is a saw, the two snakes going up, that's set, and that's that. They made a story up about how My man Hygiene, which made the Caduceus originate a Hermes by throwing his wand down between two serpents fighting. When Moses went to see the Pharaoh, he threw the stick down and turned into a serpent. Oh, we can do parlor tricks too. When this guy threw a stick down, but Moses serpent ate the other guy's serpent. Story again. I bet where he got it from, right here, misinterpreted and gave it another whole different purpose and meaning again. But now in the event that here also the hypothesis soon to be what? Transformed again into a myth by popular imagination and was due to what? A desire of unconsciousness, perhaps to what? Explain the Caduceus. From their perspective, we already had one. Moving on. Most frequently, it is a conception pre-exists in the local tradition. If you go somewhere, and the Greeks are famous, they came into Kemet. We tell them we commissioned y'all Egyptians. We tell them our god Asar. We don't call him Osiris. We tell them Aset. We call her Isis. That's Nephthys. They changed everybody's name. Why? Because they know the power of word, Heka, how you pronounce. When you name something, you pretty much own it and master it. That's their philosophy. That's their concept. That's why. Okay. When you give somebody your name, and they decide to call you out their name, don't answer. Stop that right quick. And the most frequent in their misconceptions pre-existing the local tradition, which we think we found amongst the products of what? Foreign imagery. How you gonna come from somewhere else and touch what our stuff is? Another case in point with the relationship between the ancient Egyptians and the Greeks. The Greeks adopted, I've been trying to die to get here. Perfect. All right, I'm about to wrap it up because all that time I've been waiting just to get here to make my point. The Greeks, they adopted what they could understand, right there. What they can read, what they can understand from the ancient Egyptian philosophy. But they did not adopt the culture. They didn't take it, or the social philosophy, meaning the original meaning behind what we were practicing. The Greeks made some changes in what they learned. How you going to change what you learned if you knew what you knew? You would have to learn it from them. So they changed it. So therefore, the Greek culture cannot be claimed as an African Egyptian culture heritage. The problem was so severe, and it outraged me. So I figured somebody else had a problem with it too, and I'm glad that they did. Watch this. The problem was so severe and outraged that the sages of ancient Kemet felt the need to verbally reprimand and denounce the Greek distortions of the philosophy that they took from us. All the guys' names was changed. Asar, oh, that's Zeus. Horus, that's Apollo. Mayat, oh, that's Thymus. What the hell? Net, oh, that's Athena, whatever it is. All these names, they changed all of us to them. All of us was black. Now all they guys is white. Just putting it out there. That's a fact. And I ain't the only one saying it. I got it from, I keep telling you, if I get you to say something, I got it from somewhere. I don't just put stuff out there, well, I'm going to just say this. No. As a truth telling the teacher, I need to substantiate what I say. Moving on. But watch this. They, the Greeks, they indicated and they stole the culture of what? And they're the culprits of the leading of the way of what? For their speech and the communication relations. They decided to change everything. They meant what they wanted their way, and this bitch pissed off a lot of people. And watch this. Their language, okay, which what they considered was loose, disdainful, and confusing character. That means it was it start one way and then all of a sudden it go left. You can't follow along. It's misunderstood. It's confusing. That's what they said about the Greeks. Let me wrap it up. This is them taking it home. The Greek's tongue. Remember the building of Babel? Where he just confused everybody's language? The Greek's tongue is a noise of words, a language of argument and confusion. Keep these teachings from translation in order that what? Such mighty mysteries might not come into the hands of the Greeks and to the disdainful speech that they do with all its looseness and its surface beauty. They just want everything to look good on the surface. Everything for them with their, look, it's all about they vain. They was vain as all get up. Okay. And taking all the strength out of the authenticity, the solemn and the strength and the energetic speech of names. They changed the names. They had the concept, what I just told you. They call it what they wanted. That mean they own it. That mean they control you, manipulate you. I never forget, quick lesson before I go. My brother, name is Lawrence. We fill out the paperwork at UPS. Okay? I end up a career 25 years. You can last 3 days. More than I ain't gonna sorry about that, I mean that love. But the concept, we in the room taking the test. Fill out the paper. And the lady she said, Larry, right. He said, yeah. I said, well, I know you. They don't know your name. Look, I know your name is Lawrence, not Larry. And he answered to that. I never forgot that. Dude, I would never allow that. Moving on, just a quick lesson. So now what they say about the Greeks. Here they go. Now unto those who come across those words that misinterpreted that the Greeks were, and their composition will seem most what? Simple and clear to those who don't know, to the ignorant. But on the contrary, as this is unclear, and has the true meaning been changed along with the name of his words and concealed, that means it will still be what? Unclear, unknown. And when afterwards the Greeks will want to turn our tongues into their own, for this will be very great distortion and obscuring of even what we have hitherto therefore had written in stone. They still changed it. Turn into our own native tongue, and the teachings keep it, wrapping that right here. Keep it clear, the meaning of our words. When you start changing them, like my man Denzel told him in Harlem Gangsters, when you get blue magic, once you tamper with it, don't call it blue magic. What? Because it's no longer blue magic. When you change the words of what we say, it's no longer what we say. That's the concept. Wrapping it up. And for that, for that, it is the very quality, of the sound, the very power, words of power of the commission names. We name them for a reason, and it's the power in what we name them. They got wind of that. That's why they changed it. And having to themselves the bringing into act of what we have said. We speak words and we speak things into existence. That's the concept. Let there be. Speaking himself into existence. All that other stuff, I ain't following that concept. Again, hope you got the lesson. I'm going to give you one more time with this myth and Orthodox religion. And I'm going to wrap it up. This is the last time. I guarantee I'm so done with this. And right thing, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I got one more for you. I'm going to wrap it up. Another page and a half of information. But hopefully you're getting it. Hope you're enjoying it. I enjoy giving it to you. But in closing, right thing is, may you all live to be 100, me, 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thing is the fastest way. I'm out.